On Mother's Day I received a letter and my daughter-in-law forced me to read, "Roses are red, violets are blue, you are horrible, nobody wants you here." Everybody laughed at me. Then something happened that nobody expected, which caused my phone to ring 25 times. I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped into Vincent's house. The air felt rehearsed. 20 people crowded into the dining room, but the conversation had that forced brightness, like everyone was performing happiness instead of feeling it. Adriana stood at the head of the table, pink champagne in one hand, her smile sharp as glass. She'd never looked at me with warmth. Not in 3 years. But today, there was something else in her eyes. Anticipation. "Miriam, you made it." Her voice rang out, too loud, pulling every face toward me. We were just about to do speeches. I forced a smile. Nodded. My sister Nora barely glanced up from her phone. Vincent was at the far end of the table, shoulders tight, staring at his plate like it held answers. He hadn't hugged me when I arrived. Hadn't met my eyes. I sat where Adriana pointed, center of the table, surrounded by cousins I hadn't spoken to in months, neighbors who used to wave and now looked past me. The chair felt like a stage. "Mother's Day is so special," Adriana continued, her voice syrup-sweet. She lifted a folded card from the table, cream-colored with a pink ribbon. "I wrote something for you, Miriam. A little poem." My chest tightened. The room went quiet. She slid the card across the table. It stopped directly in front of me, the ribbon perfectly centered. "Go ahead," she said, her smile widening. "Read it out loud." I looked at Vincent. He was still staring at his plate. His jaw worked like he wanted to say something, but nothing came out. My hands shook as I picked up the card. The paper felt expensive. Thick. I opened it slowly, and for one fragile second, I thought maybe I was wrong. Maybe this was just nerves. Maybe. The handwriting was looping and deliberate. "Roses are red, violets are blue, you are horrible, nobody wants you here." Asterisk. The words didn't register at first. I read them twice. 3 times. My throat closed. I looked up. Adriana's eyes glittered. "Waiting." "Well," she prompted. "Read it." My voice came out thin and fractured. I read the words aloud, each one scraping my throat raw. Silence dropped like a weight. Then Adriana laughed. It started as a bright, performative sound, head tilted back, hand on her chest. Others followed. Hesitant at first. A cousin chuckled nervously. Nora smirked into her glass. The neighbors exchanged glances, then joined in, their laughter building into something uglier. I sat frozen, the card trembling in my hands. Vincent still wasn't looking at me. His knuckles were white around his fork, but he said nothing. Did nothing. "Oh, come on, Miriam." Adriana's voice cut through the noise, sticky with false affection. "It's just a joke. You're always so serious." I couldn't breathe. The room blurred at the edges. I tried to smile, tried to play along, but my face wouldn't cooperate. My lips trembled. My eyes burned. I stood. No words. I didn't trust my voice. I just grabbed my purse and walked toward the door, the laughter chasing me down the hallway. Behind me, I heard Adriana's voice, quieter now but still sharp enough to reach me. "See? So sensitive." More laughter. I made it to my car. Hands shaking so badly I dropped my keys twice before I could unlock the door. I collapsed into the driver's seat, gasping like I'd been underwater. The steering wheel was cold under my palms. I gripped it hard, trying to ground myself, trying to stop the flood of humiliation and confusion and something worse, doubt. Was I overreacting? Was it really just a joke? No. No, it wasn't. I thought back to 3 years ago. The conversation I'd had with Adriana before the wedding. I'd pulled her aside gently, lovingly. Told her Vincent had struggled with gambling. That he was in therapy. That he was healing, but she needed to know. She'd looked at me like I'd slapped her. "You're trying to ruin this," she'd whispered. "You can't handle that he loves me more than you." I tried to explain. She walked away. And from that moment, everything changed. Phone calls ignored. Invitations pulled back. Vincent grew distant, defensive, cold. I'd spent 3 years wondering if I'd made a mistake. If I'd been overbearing. Controlling. If I really was horrible. My phone buzzed. I ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. I glanced at the screen. Unknown number. I swiped it away. But it kept going. Vibrating against my lap, relentless. 5 calls. 10. 15. My heart slammed against my ribs. I checked the notifications, hospital, names I hadn't heard from in years, Vincent's best friend Owen, a number labeled police detective. 25 calls in 12 minutes. My hands went numb. Something had gone terribly, terribly wrong. I answered the next call with shaking fingers. Mrs. Holloway? A woman's voice, calm and clinical. This is Mercy General Hospital. Your son Vincent was brought in an hour ago. He's stable, but he's asking for you. The world tilted. What happened? My voice cracked. Car accident. Can you come in? I started the engine, my mind racing, my chest tight. But the calls didn't stop. And with each one, the truth I'd buried for 3 years began clawing its way to the surface. Have you ever been humiliated by someone you tried so hard to love? Stay with me, because what happens next will make you question every smile you've ever trusted. Before we continue, I need you to do something. If this story is hitting you hard, if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, tap that like button. It tells me you're here. That you feel this too. And subscribe. Because stories like Miriam's don't end at one chapter. Every week, we bring you real emotional journeys about betrayal, truth, and what happens when silence finally breaks. Also, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Are you listening at work? At home? Late at night when no one else is awake? I read every single one. Now let's get back to Miriam, because those 25 calls are about to change everything. I drove toward Mercy General with my phone exploding in the passenger seat. The calls wouldn't stop. Each vibration sent a fresh spike of panic through my chest. I couldn't answer while driving, couldn't think past the nurse's words, car accident. Stable. Asking for you. Vincent wanted me. After 3 years of silence, blocked calls, and cold shoulders, he wanted me. Relief and terror collided so hard I could barely keep the car straight. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles bone white. The road blurred. I blinked hard, forcing focus. But guilt crept in, sharp and vicious. Did I cause this? Did leaving the party distract him? Did he crash because of me? I swallowed the thought down, but it stuck in my throat like broken glass. The phone buzzed again. I glanced at the screen at a red light, 15 missed calls now. Names I recognized. Names I didn't. A lawyer's office. Adriana's mother. Vincent's coworker. What the hell was happening? I pulled into the hospital parking lot, hands shaking so badly I nearly hit the curb. The moment I threw the car into park, I grabbed my phone. 17 voicemails. I started the first one. A man's voice, clipped and professional. Ms. Holloway, this is Garrett from Fisher and Stone Legal. Your son Vincent has retained us for divorce proceedings. He asked that we contact you immediately as a witness and potential. I skipped ahead, heart hammering. Next message. A woman, sobbing. Miriam, it's Celeste. Adriana's mother. I didn't know. Please call me back. I swear I didn't know what she. Skip. Another. Owen. Vincent's best friend. His voice tight, urgent. Miriam, answer your phone. Vincent sent an email. To everyone. You need to see it. He exposed Adriana. Everything she's been doing. Call me back. My breath caught. Exposed her? For what? I dialed Owen. He picked up on the first ring. Thank God. His voice cracked. Are you at the hospital? I just got here. Owen, what's going on? What email? He exhaled, long and heavy. Vincent found out. About a week ago. He's been gathering evidence, and this morning he couldn't take it anymore. He sent a mass email to everyone, family, friends, neighbors. Everyone who was at that party. My chest tightened. Evidence of what? Owen paused. When he spoke again, his voice was low, furious. Adriana's been lying about you. For 3 years, Miriam. She blocked your number on his phone. She deleted your messages. You sent birthday cards, Christmas gifts, she hid them all in their garage and told Vincent you didn't care. The parking lot tilted. What? My voice came out barely a whisper. She told people you were unstable. That you called her privately and harassed her. That you stole money from them. Vincent believed her. We all did. I'm so sorry. My throat burned. I couldn't speak. Owen kept going, words spilling faster. He only found out last week. Saw old phone records showing calls from your number, hundreds of them. All blocked. He confronted her this morning, right before the party. She denied everything. So he sent the email with proof. Screenshots. Bank records. Everything. That's why the party felt wrong, I whispered. Everyone knew. Yeah. And Adriana threw it anyway. She thought she could still control the narrative. I closed my eyes, phone pressed so hard against my ear it hurt. Owen, how did he crash? Silence. Owen. His voice dropped. He said he was driving to clear his head after the confrontation. Adriana followed him. He swerved to avoid her car. That's how he ended up in the ditch. Cold dread poured through me. Before I could respond, another call beeped through. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. I have to go, I told Owen. I'll call you back. I switched lines. Hello? Ms. Holloway, this is Detective Ramos with the Financial Crimes Unit. We need to speak with you regarding documents filed in your name. Specifically, a $15,000 loan taken out 2 years ago using your personal information. My heart stopped. I never took out a loan. We're aware. That's why we're calling. Your daughter-in-law, Adriana Holloway, is currently being questioned. We believe she committed identity theft and fraud using your social security number and forged signatures. The phone went hot in my hand. Adriana didn't just lie. She didn't just isolate me. She committed crimes. In my name. I sat in that parking lot, engine ticking as it cooled, and felt the last 3 years rearrange themselves into something uglier than I'd ever imagined. Ms. Holloway? Are you still there? Yes. My voice sounded far away. I'm here. We'll need a formal statement. Can you come to the station tomorrow? Yes. I ended the call. Stared at my phone. At the missed call still lighting up the screen. And for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't the one who felt crazy. Imagine discovering that the person who humiliated you an hour ago has been destroying your life in ways you never saw coming. Comment exposed if you drive straight back to confront her. I walked through the hospital doors on legs that barely held me. The smell hit first, antiseptic, floor cleaner, that specific sterile scent that clings to every waiting room and hallway. It smelled like fear. Like regret. A nurse at the desk recognized my name, led me down a corridor that stretched too long. My shoes squeaked against the linoleum. Each step felt heavier than the last. I hadn't been alone with my son in 2 years. What if Owen was wrong? What if this was another misunderstanding? What if Vincent still believed Adriana, still thought I was the problem, and this was just some cruel? The nurse stopped outside room 247. He's been asking for you every 10 minutes. She opened the door. Vincent sat propped up in bed, left arm in a sling, bruises blooming purple across his cheekbone and jaw. His eyes were red-rimmed, glassy. When he saw me, his face crumpled. Mom. That one word broke me. I crossed the room without thinking, without hesitation. He reached for me with his good arm, and I pulled him close, careful of the sling, of the 4-line taped to his hand. He shook against me. His breath hitched, ragged and uneven. "I'm so sorry." His voice cracked. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." I held him tighter. My boy. My son who used to run to me when he scraped his knees, who used to call me every Sunday, who disappeared 3 years ago and became a stranger. "It's okay," I whispered, even though it wasn't. Even though nothing about this was okay. "No." He pulled back, tears streaking his face. "It's not." I believed her. I believed every lie. "I ignored you." I let her. "Stop." I cupped his face, thumbs brushing away tears. "Just stop. You're here now. That's what matters." He shook his head, anguish written in every line of his expression. "You don't understand what she did. What I let her do." I sat on the edge of his bed, still holding his hand. Owen told me some of it. The blocked calls. The hidden gifts. Vincent's jaw tightened. He looked away, shame radiating off him in waves. "I found the phone records 2 weeks ago. I was looking for something else and saw this list of blocked numbers. Pages of them. All from you." My chest ached. I checked the dates, he continued, voice hollow. "Every holiday. Every birthday. You called. And I never knew because she set my phone to auto-block your number and delete the logs." I closed my eyes. All those calls I'd made, voice shaking as I left messages I thought he ignored. He never heard a single one. "I went through our garage," Vincent said. "Found a box shoved behind old paint cans. It was full of cards. Gifts. All from you. Unopened." His voice broke again. "The sweater you sent for my birthday 2 years ago. The book for Christmas. Cards for our anniversary, for Valentine's Day. She told me you sent nothing. That you'd given up on me." I couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. Vincent wiped his face with his good hand, anger flashing through the grief. "She showed me fake text threads. Made it look like you'd been harassing her privately, calling her names, threatening her. I thought you hated her. I thought you were trying to destroy my marriage. I warned her about your gambling," I said quietly. "Before the wedding. I thought she deserved to know. She twisted it into something else. She told me you tried to sabotage us. That you called her trash, said she wasn't good enough." He laughed bitterly. "I defended her. Chose her. Cut you out to protect her." The irony tasted like ash. "This morning I confronted her," Vincent said. "Showed her the evidence. She denied it. Called me paranoid. Said my gambling issues were making me delusional, that I couldn't trust my own memory." My blood went cold. Weaponizing his therapy. His healing. "So I sent the email," he continued. "To everyone. Family, friends, everyone who was going to be at that party. I attached proof, screenshots, bank records, photos of the hidden gifts. I wanted them to know the truth before she could spin it. That's why the party felt staged. Why Adriana's smile was so sharp. Everyone knew. And she made me read that card anyway." "Vincent." I kept my voice steady. "How did you end up here? What happened after you sent the email?" His jaw tightened. He looked at me, and something dark flickered behind his eyes. "I left the house. Needed to drive, to think. I was heading toward Owen's place." He paused. Swallowed hard. "Adriana followed me." My heart stopped. I saw her car in my rearview mirror. She was right on my bumper, flashing her lights. I pulled over thinking maybe she wanted to talk. But when I stopped, she didn't. She swerved into my lane. His voice went flat. "Empty. I didn't crash, Mom. I swerved to avoid her. That's how I ended up in the ditch." The room went very quiet. Adriana hadn't just lied. Hadn't just stolen. She'd tried to hurt him. Would you forgive a child who chose a liar over you for 3 years? Or does love mean starting over, no matter how deep the cut? Drop your answer in the comment. Vincent asked the nurse to bring him something from his car. She returned 5 minutes later carrying a locked messenger bag, dark leather worn at the edges. She set it on the bed and left without a word. Vincent pulled a key from the table beside him, hand still trembling slightly. I need you to see this. All of it. He unlocked the bag and pulled out a thick folder. Manila, stuffed so full the edges didn't quite close. He handed it to me. Every lie she told. I documented everything. I opened it. The first page was a printed email. Dated 8 months ago. Sent from Vincent's account to Adriana. Mom called again today. Told her we're done with her drama. Don't answer if she tries you. My breath caught. I know. Vincent's voice was tight. You couldn't have called. Your number was blocked. She sent that email to herself from my phone while I was asleep. Check the timestamp. 3 in the morning. I stared at the words. At the cruelty of it. Manufacturing evidence of my rejection. I flipped to the next page. Screenshots of text messages. Adriana's number at the top. Your mom just called me again. She's screaming that I'm ruining your life. I'm scared, Vincent. She showed up at my work. Security had to escort her out. I didn't want to tell you, but this is getting worse. I never went to her work, I whispered. I know. I called her boss last week. You were never there. She fabricated all of it. Page after page. Each one a new knife wound. A printed bank statement with my name on it. A loan for $15,000. My signature at the bottom, except it wasn't. The loops were wrong. The slant too steep. She forged this? My voice shook. Vincent nodded. Took the loan out 2 years ago. Showed me the paperwork, said you'd stolen from us to pay off gambling debts of your own. She said you were projecting your addiction onto me. I felt sick. I believed her, Vincent said, voice raw with shame. I was already fragile about the gambling. She knew exactly how to twist it. Made me think addiction ran in the family. That I got it from you. My hands trembled holding the evidence of my own forged signature. Adriana hadn't just lied about who I was. She'd created an entirely fictional version of me and made my son believe it. I kept reading. Receipts. Gifts I'd mailed, tracked, and delivered. Vincent's address confirmed. Dates stamped clearly. 2 years of birthdays, holidays, thinking of you packages. All hidden. She told me you stopped trying, Vincent said quietly. That you didn't care anymore. I mourned you like you died, Mom. And you were just trying to reach me the whole time. A voicemail transcript. From my number to Vincent's phone. The one I'd left on his birthday last year, voice shaking, begging him to call me back. To tell me what I'd done wrong. Blocked. Deleted. Never heard. How did you get this? I asked. Phone company archives. Took 2 weeks and a lawyer, but they pulled the records. The next document made my blood freeze. A typed letter on official-looking letterhead. Mercy Regional Psychiatric Center. Addressed to Adriana. This letter confirms that Miriam Holloway was a patient at our facility from March 2021 to August 2021 for treatment of delusional disorder and paranoid ideation. This is fake. My voice came out flat. Dead. Completely fabricated. I called the facility. You've never been a patient there. She made the letterhead herself. She'd tried to make me look mentally ill. Unstable. Dangerous. I couldn't process it. The depth of calculation. The meticulous cruelty. There's more, Vincent said. I didn't know if I could take more. He pulled out another stack. Messages from other people. His cousin. His best friend from college. Even our old neighbor, Mrs. Chen. Each one asking Vincent if I was okay. If I was getting help. If he was safe. Each one based on lies Adriana had whispered privately. I'm worried about Vincent's mom. She's been acting strange. Following us. I think she needs professional help. Miriam keeps sending concerning emails. I've tried to be patient, but I'm genuinely afraid. 3 years of poison dripped slowly into every relationship I had. A knock on the door interrupted us. Owen stepped in, face drawn and tired. When he saw me, relief flashed across his features. You're here. Good. He crossed to Vincent's bed, gripped his shoulder briefly. Then looked at me. I helped him gather some of this. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner, Miriam. She was good. Too good. How long did you suspect? I asked. Owen hesitated. About a year. Small things that didn't add up. She'd mentioned conversations with you that seemed off. Too convenient. But I didn't want to overstep. I thought maybe I was reading into things. Other people tried to warn me too, Vincent added. My coworker Tasha. Our old landlord. Even Adriana's ex-boyfriend reached out 6 months ago. She intercepted everything. Told me they were jealous, trying to cause problems. My head spun. How many people had tried to pull him out of this web? Owen's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, face darkening. She's on her way here. Vincent went rigid. What? Group chat. Her mother just posted that Adriana left the police station. They didn't arrest her yet, just questioned her. She's heading to the hospital. My pulse spiked. Vincent's phone lit up on the bedside table. A text notification. He picked it up. Read it. His face went white. What? I asked. He turned the screen toward me. Adriana, I'm coming to the hospital. We need to talk. I'm pregnant. The air left the room. Vincent's voice came out hollow. Detached. We haven't slept together in 4 months. The folder slipped from my hands, pages scattering across the hospital bed. 4 months. The baby wasn't his. When manipulation runs this deep, forgiveness isn't noble, it's dangerous. Subscribe so you don't miss what Adriana tries next. Adriana arrived 20 minutes later. I heard her before I saw her, the quick click of heels in the hallway, the breathless voice asking a nurse which room. Owen stiffened. Vincent's whole body went tense, his good hand gripping the bed rail. The door swung open. She wore pale blue. Soft fabric, delicate neckline. Her hair was pulled back, a few strategic pieces framing her face. Makeup streaked just enough to show she'd been crying, mascara smudged beneath her eyes, but not ruined. Controlled devastation. She didn't look at me. Didn't acknowledge Owen. Her eyes locked on Vincent, wide and glistening, and she rushed to his bedside. Baby, thank God. Her voice trembled. I was so scared. When I heard about the accident, She reached for him, delicate fingers stretching toward his face. Vincent pulled back. Don't. The word was quiet. Firm. Adriana froze, hand hovering in the air between them. Confusion flickered across her face, but it smoothed out fast. Too fast. She adjusted, recalibrating. You're in shock, she said softly, her voice dipping into that gentle, nurturing tone. You've been through trauma. You don't mean that. I mean it. Vincent's voice stayed level. Cold. Don't touch me. Her eyes darted to Owen, then to me. For the first time, she acknowledged my presence. Her gaze sharpened, just for a heartbeat, before the softness returned. Of course. She straightened, clasping her hands in front of her. Your mother's here. I understand. The implication hung in the air, that I was the problem. The obstacle. The poison. I stayed silent. Watched her. Studied the performance. And it was a performance. The trembling lip. The way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a gesture designed to look vulnerable. The slight hitch in her breathing. She was good. For a fraction of a second, I wondered if she even knew she was lying anymore. If the act had become so practiced it felt like truth. Vincent's jaw tightened. I saw the bank records, Adriana. She blinked. What? The loan. In my mother's name. Your signature's on the application paperwork. The notary confirmed it. Her face shifted. Still soft, but calculating now. Baby, you're confused. The medications they gave you. I talked to your ex-boyfriend. That landed. I saw it. A micro-expression, gone in a flash, panic. Marcus reached out 6 months ago, Vincent continued. You told me he was obsessed, trying to cause problems. He wasn't. He was trying to warn me. Adriana's breathing quickened. Real this time, not performed. He's lying. He never got over me. You know that. He told me about the restraining order. The one his family filed against you. Her mouth opened. Closed. Juvenile records are sealed, Vincent said. But he remembered everything. How you isolated him from his family. Lied about his mother. Stole from his father's business and blamed it on his sister. That's not, her voice cracked. He's rewriting history. You can't believe. I got the police report. Vincent's voice was stone. It's all there. Adriana's face went pale beneath the carefully applied makeup. She pivoted. Fast. The tears came harder now, her hands shaking. Okay. Okay, maybe I made mistakes. But I was trying to protect you. Your mother, she was controlling you, Vincent. Manipulating you. I had to create distance so you could be free. I'd stayed quiet long enough. By stealing my identity? My voice cut through her sob. By forging loan documents? Adriana's eyes snapped to mine. For just a second, the mask slipped. I saw rage. Pure, cold hatred. Then it was gone, replaced by wounded confusion. I never, Vincent, you can't let her twist this. She's been waiting for a chance to turn you against me. Stop. Vincent's voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried weight. Finality. Adriana's breathing hitched. She placed a hand on her stomach. The gesture was deliberate, theatrical. I'm pregnant, she whispered. Vincent, I'm carrying your child. You're going to throw me out? Destroy our family while I'm pregnant? Vincent's expression didn't change. We haven't had sex in 4 months. The room went still. Adriana's hand stayed on her stomach, but her face shifted. Confusion. Calculation. Desperation cycling too fast. You're misremembering. The stress. 4 months, Vincent repeated. You moved into the guest room in January. Said you needed space to work on yourself. It hasn't been that long. If you're pregnant, I said quietly, it's not his. Adriana's head whipped toward me. The mask cracked wide open. Fury blazed across her face, raw and ugly. You've always hated me. Her voice shook, but not with tears anymore. With rage. From day one, you wanted to destroy this marriage. And now you've finally poisoned him enough. The door opened. A hospital security guard stepped in. Behind him, a man in a dark suit. Detective Ramos. I recognized his voice from the phone call. Adriana Holloway? She turned, face still twisted with anger. It took her a second to smooth it back into confusion. Innocence. Yes? We need you to come with us. We have more questions regarding identity theft and financial fraud. The color drained from her face. She looked at Vincent. Waiting. Expecting him to defend her. To tell them this was a mistake. That they had the wrong person. Vincent stared at the wall. Silent. This is ridiculous. Adriana's voice climbed higher. I haven't done anything. Vincent, tell them. He said nothing. The detective stepped closer. Ma'am, you can come voluntarily, or we can make this official. Adriana's hands clenched into fists. She looked at me one last time. The hatred in her eyes was so pure it felt like touch. She left with the detective, heels clicking down the hallway, her voice rising in protest until the sound faded. The door closed. Vincent exhaled, long and shaky. Owen moved first, gripping Vincent's shoulder. You did the right thing. Vincent didn't respond. Just stared at the door where she'd disappeared. I sat down slowly, legs weak, heart still racing. For 3 years, I'd been the villain in her story. Now she'd have to face her own. Tell me, does a pregnancy excuse 3 years of lies? Comment your truth. My phone started buzzing before the detective's footsteps faded down the hall. I pulled it out, expecting more calls. Instead, notifications flooded the screen, messages, dozens of them, all from the same source. Holloway family group chat. I stared at the name. I'd been removed from that chat 2 years ago. Adriana said it was a mistake, a technical glitch. Vincent never added me back. Now message after message rolled in, too fast to read. Owen leaned over. I added you back an hour ago. After Vincent sent the email. Figured you deserved to see what people were saying. I opened the chat. The messages scrolled up, a chaotic flood of reactions. Nora, I can't believe this. Miriam, if you're reading this, I'm so sorry. Cousin Rita, we had no idea. Oh my God, we had no idea. Vincent's Uncle Paul, this is absolutely unacceptable. Adriana needs to be held accountable. Neighbor Karen, I feel sick. I laughed today. I actually laughed. I scrolled further back, to messages sent right after Vincent's email went out. Cousin Rita, is this real? Did Adriana really do all this? Nora, I don't know what to believe anymore. Uncle Paul, Vincent wouldn't lie about something like this. Look at the attachments. Neighbor Karen, I saw Miriam leave. She looked destroyed. Oh God. More apologies. More shock. More people claiming they didn't know or stayed out of it or thought something felt off but didn't want to interfere. I felt nothing. No relief. No vindication. Just a hollow numbness that spread through my chest like frost. These people had laughed at me 4 hours ago. Watched me break and did nothing. Now they were sorry. A private message notification popped up, separate from the group chat. Celeste Monroe. Adriana's mother. I hesitated, finger hovering over the notification. Celeste, I need to talk to you. Alone. Please. I'm in the hospital cafeteria. I looked at Vincent. He'd leaned back against the pillows, eyes closed, exhausted. I'll be back, I said quietly. He nodded without opening his eyes. The cafeteria was nearly empty. Just a few nurses on break, a tired-looking man drinking coffee in the corner. Celeste sat at a table near the windows, hands wrapped around a paper cup. She looked 10 years older than she had this morning. Hair disheveled. Face pale. Eyes swollen. She saw me and stood, uncertain. I sat down across from her without a word. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. I knew, Celeste said finally. Her voice was raw. Not everything. Not all of it. But enough. I waited. I knew she lied about you. Exaggerated things. Twisted conversations. Celeste stared into her cup. I told myself it was just marriage stress. That she was protecting herself. That you were overbearing and she needed space. My jaw tightened. I didn't know about the fraud, Celeste continued quickly. The stolen identity, the forged documents. I swear I didn't know that part. But you knew she was lying about me. Celeste nodded slowly. Tears slipped down her face. I didn't stop her. She's my daughter. What was I supposed to do? I leaned back, arms crossed. Tell the truth. I thought, her voice broke. I thought if I stayed out of it, things would settle. That Vincent would figure it out on his own. That you'd give up and move on. The words landed like stones. You wanted me to give up, I said quietly. Celeste looked at me, eyes red and desperate. I thought it would be easier. For everyone. A bitter laugh escaped me. Easier for who? She didn't answer. I watched her cry, and I felt that same hollow numbness. Even Adriana's own mother had chosen comfort over truth. This isn't the first time, Celeste whispered. I went still. She did this before. With her ex-fiancé. His family. She isolated him, lied about his mother, turned him against everyone who loved him. His sister confronted her, and Adriana made it look like the sister attacked her. Restraining order. The whole thing. My stomach turned. She had a best friend in college. They had a falling out. Adriana spread rumors, faked screenshots, destroyed her reputation. The girl transferred schools. Celeste's hands shook around her cup. She isolates people. Rewrites history. Makes herself the victim every time. And her voice cracked. I stayed silent. Because she's my daughter, and I kept hoping she'd grow out of it. That love would fix her. I stared at this broken woman across from me. A mother who enabled cruelty because she couldn't face the truth about her own child. Did you laugh today? I asked. When I read that card. Did you laugh knowing it was cruel? Celeste's face crumpled. She looked away. I did, she whispered. I thought, maybe if you felt unwelcome enough, you'd stop trying. Stop making things complicated. The betrayal cut fresh. Celeste reached into her purse with shaking hands. Pulled out a manila envelope. Slid it across the table. I found this on her laptop yesterday. After Vincent sent the email. I went through her files. I stared at the envelope. What is it? A flash drive. Celeste's voice was barely audible. She recorded the Mother's Day party. The whole thing. She planned to post it online, on a blog she was building. The theme was surviving a toxic mother-in-law. She was going to make you look unhinged when you reacted to the card. My blood went cold. She was going to build a brand on your pain, Celeste continued. Monetize it. I deleted the blog drafts, but the video's still on there. I picked up the envelope. It felt heavier than it should. Adriana hadn't just wanted to humiliate me privately. She'd wanted to destroy me publicly. Permanently. Turn my suffering into content. I looked at Celeste. At this woman who knew her daughter was cruel and did nothing. Why are you giving this to me now? Because I can't let her do this again. Celeste wiped her face. Even if it costs me my daughter. Someone has to stop her. I stood, envelope in hand. You should have stopped her 3 years ago. I walked away, leaving her crying into her cold coffee. If someone's own parent enables their cruelty, who's really to blame? This story doesn't have easy answers. I didn't go back to Vincent's room right away. I walked to the parking lot, sat in my car, and stared at the envelope Celeste had given me. The flash drive inside was small. Black. Ordinary. But what it contained felt like poison. I pulled out my phone, hands trembling, and plugged in the adapter I kept in my glove box. Inserted the drive. Waited for the file to load. One video. 43 minutes long. Titled, Mother-in-Law from hell_final.mp4. I pressed play. The video opened on the dining room. Bright. Decorated with pastel streamers and flowers. The camera was positioned high, angled down, probably on a shelf, hidden behind a vase. Guests filtered in. Smiling. Talking. Normal. Then Adriana's voice, low and close to the camera. Okay, everyone's here. Just go along with it when she reads the card. Laugh a little. She takes everything so seriously, it'll be funny. My throat tightened. The camera had audio. Clear audio. I watched Adriana move through the room, whispering to people. Planting seeds. To my sister Nora, Miriam's been so cold to me lately. Maybe this will lighten things up. To Vincent's cousin, she's really sensitive about jokes. Try not to react too much if she gets upset. To the neighbor, if she makes a scene, just ignore it. She's been struggling. Every word a tiny manipulation. Priming them. Preparing them to see me as fragile. Unstable. Difficult. I watched myself enter the frame. God, I looked nervous. Shoulders tight. Smile forced. I didn't even realize how tense I'd been. Adriana's voice rang out, bright and false, "Miriam, you made it." I watched her slide the card across the table. Watched my hands shake as I picked it up. The camera captured everything. My face as I read the words. The way my throat worked. The tremble in my voice as I read aloud. "You are horrible. Nobody wants you here." The silence. Then laughter. I watched it spread through the room like a virus. Adriana laughed first, loud and performative, and others followed. Hesitant. Uncomfortable. But they followed. Vincent sat frozen, staring at his plate. Silent. I watched myself stand. Watched the way my hands fumbled for my purse. The way I kept my face down, hiding tears. Watched myself leave. And after I was gone, Adriana's voice, clear as glass, "See? So sensitive. I told you." More laughter. Lighter now. Relieved. Someone said, "That was kind of mean, Adriana." Adriana's response, casual and dismissive, "Oh, she'll get over it. She always does." The video kept recording. Guests talked. Ate. The party continued like I'd never been there. Adriana moved close to the camera, adjusting the angle slightly. Her face filled the frame, and she smiled. Not the soft, delicate smile she performed for others. A satisfied smile. Victorious. She whispered to the camera, "Perfect. This is going to get so many views." The screen went black. I sat in my car, phone hot in my hands, chest tight with something darker than anger. Adriana hadn't just humiliated me. She'd scripted it. Directed it. Captured it. Planned to broadcast my pain to strangers for attention. For clicks. For money. I closed my eyes and saw her face again. That smile. She'd enjoyed it. A knock on my window made me jump. Detective Ramos stood outside, expression neutral. I rolled down the window. "Miss Holloway. I thought I saw you out here." I swallowed hard, trying to find my voice. "Is Adriana still being questioned?" "For now. But without a formal complaint from you, we can't hold her much longer on the fraud charges. The evidence is strong, but we need your statement. And your decision." "My decision. Press charges. Make this official. Send her into the legal system. Or let it go." "If I press charges," I said slowly, "what happens?" "Identity theft and fraud are felonies. If convicted, she's looking at prison time. Restitution. A record. Prison." I thought about Vincent. About 3 years of stolen time. About the gifts hidden in a garage, the calls that never went through, the version of me she'd created and sold to everyone I loved. I thought about the video. About her smile. "She'll say I'm vindictive," I whispered. "That I'm trying to destroy her." "Maybe," Detective Ramos said. "But that doesn't change what she did." I looked down at my phone. At the frozen frame of Adriana's satisfied face. "I need to talk to my son first." I walked back into Vincent's hospital room. He was awake, sitting up straighter now. Owen had left. It was just the two of us. "The detective talked to you," Vincent said. Not a question. I nodded. "Are you going to press charges?" I sat on the edge of his bed. "I don't know. If I do, she could go to prison." "Your wife." "Ex-wife," Vincent corrected, voice firm. "The papers are already filed." I looked at him. Really looked. At the bruises. The exhaustion. The guilt still etched into every line of his face. "Vincent, if I do this." "Do it." His voice was steady. Certain. "Mom, do it. She'll make me the villain. She already has." He reached for my hand. "For 3 years, you've been the villain in her story. It's time she answers for hers." I thought about Celeste. Broken and crying. Choosing her daughter even when her daughter was cruel. I thought about all the people who stayed silent. Who didn't want to interfere. Silence protected Adriana. It always had. I pulled out my phone. Called the detective. I want to press charges, I said. All of them. Vincent's hand tightened around mine. Across town, Adriana was about to learn that some people stop being silent. When manipulation runs this deep, forgiveness isn't noble, it's dangerous. If you've ever been called vindictive for defending yourself, this next part is for you. I met Detective Ramos at the police station the next morning. The building was cold. Gray walls, fluorescent lights that hummed too loud. I sat across from him in a small room, a recorder between us on the table. Start from the beginning, he said. When did you first become aware of fraudulent activity in your name? I told him everything. The loan I never took. The $15,000. The forged signature that almost looked like mine but wasn't, the loops too wide, the pressure too heavy. I gave him dates. Approximate timelines of when Adriana must have accessed my personal information. My social security number. My address. Details only family would know. As I spoke, the weight of it settled over me. Not just the money. The time. 3 years of my son's life, stolen. Holidays missed. Conversations that never happened. Trust eroded one lie at a time. This is felony identity theft, Detective Ramos said. Fraud. Forgery. These are serious charges, Miss Holloway. I nodded, throat tight. If we move forward, there will be a trial. She'll have a lawyer. They'll try to discredit you. Make you look vindictive. You need to be prepared for that. I thought about the video. About Adriana's smile. About the card. You are horrible. Nobody wants you here. I'm ready, I said. But my hand shook as I signed the formal complaint. Detective Ramos slid another document across the table. We pulled her background. There's a prior incident. Restraining order filed 5 years ago by her ex-fiancé's family. I looked up. Celeste mentioned that. The juvenile record is sealed, but the restraining order is public. Similar pattern, isolation, financial manipulation, fabricated incidents. He paused. This isn't her first time, Miss Holloway. It's a pattern of behavior. The room felt smaller. This wasn't a mistake. Adriana hadn't just made bad choices or acted out of insecurity. She'd done this before. And she'd do it again. Sign here, Detective Ramos said, pointing to the bottom of the complaint. I picked up the pen. It felt heavier than it should. For a moment, I hesitated. Imagined Adriana in a courtroom. In handcuffs. In prison. Was I capable of that? Of being the reason someone went to jail? Then I remembered Vincent's face in that hospital bed. The 3 years we'd never get back. I signed. By the time I got home, my phone was ringing again. The family group chat had exploded. Word spread fast, someone had leaked that I'd pressed charges. Cousin Rita, Miriam did the right thing. Adriana needs to face consequences. Uncle Paul, agreed. This is about justice. But not everyone agreed. Nora, this is too far. She's pregnant. You're really sending a pregnant woman to jail? Neighbor Karen, I don't know, this feels extreme. Nora, over money? You're willing to destroy her life over money? I stared at my sister's messages, anger rising hot and sharp in my chest. Over money. As if that's all it was. My phone rang. Nora's name on the screen. I answered. Have you lost your mind? Nora's voice was sharp, accusing. You're pressing charges? Against a pregnant woman? She committed fraud, Nora. She stole my identity. So you're sending her to prison? Do you hear yourself? You've become exactly what she said you were, controlling, vindictive, cruel. The words hit like a slap. I'm protecting myself, I said quietly. You're getting revenge, Nora shot back. There's a difference. She made mistakes, yes. But this? This is you being the monster. I closed my eyes. Took a breath. You laughed, I said. At the party. When I read that card. You laughed. Silence on the other end. Miriam. You stayed silent for 3 years while she destroyed my relationship with my son. You didn't ask questions. You didn't defend me. You chose comfort. That's not fair. And now you're choosing it again. I hung up. Blocked her number. Sat on my couch in the quiet of my living room and realized something that hurt worse than the betrayal. Some people will always choose comfort over truth. Even family. Especially family. Hours later, my phone buzzed. A text from Vincent. Vincent, DNA results came back. My heart stopped. Vincent, can I call you? I dialed him immediately. His voice was flat when he answered. Emotionless. The baby isn't mine. I closed my eyes. Vincent. 4 months. I was right. She's been lying about this too. He laughed, bitter and hollow. Of course she has. Why would this be any different? I'm sorry. Don't be. His voice hardened. This makes it easier. No custody battles. No reason to ever see her again. I heard the pain beneath the anger. The grief of loving someone who never existed. Mom? Yeah? Thank you. For pressing charges. For not letting her win. My throat burned. You don't have to thank me. Yeah, he said quietly. I do. After we hung up, I sat in the dark and thought about justice. About revenge. About whether there was really a difference. Adriana had built a life on lies. Now she'd live with the truth. Family doesn't mean loyalty. Sometimes it just means shared blood and separate morals. If you've ever been called the villain for defending yourself, leave a comment. I want to hear your story. 2 months later, I walked into the county courthouse wearing navy blue and my oldest pair of comfortable shoes. Vincent's divorce hearing. I wasn't required to be there. Vincent's lawyer had made that clear. But Vincent asked me to come, and after 3 years of absence, I wasn't going to miss this. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling. High ceilings. Rows of benches that reminded me of church pews. A handful of people scattered throughout, Owen, a few of Vincent's friends, Celeste sitting alone in the back corner. Vincent sat at the plaintiff's table with his lawyer, a sharp woman named Diane Cartwright who'd built her career on complex divorce cases. He looked thinner than he had 2 months ago. Tired. But steady. Adriana sat across the aisle with her attorney, a man in an expensive suit who looked like he smiled for a living. She wore cream-colored linen, hair in a low bun, minimal makeup. Soft. Vulnerable. The picture of a wronged wife. She didn't look at Vincent. Didn't look at me. The judge entered, a woman in her 60s with gray hair and an expression that gave nothing away. We're here for the dissolution of marriage between Vincent Holloway and Adriana Holloway, she said. Let's begin. Adriana's lawyer stood first. Your Honor, my client entered this marriage in good faith. She dedicated 3 years to building a life with Mr. Holloway, only to be abandoned during one of the most vulnerable times in her life, while pregnant and facing baseless criminal accusations orchestrated by a hostile mother-in-law. I kept my face neutral. Barely. Ms. Adriana Holloway has been painted as a villain, he continued, when in reality, she's a victim of a controlling family dynamic. She's lost her husband, her home, her reputation, all because she tried to protect her marriage from outside interference. He painted her as fragile. Misunderstood. A woman caught between a man and his overbearing mother. I watched Adriana dab at her eyes with a tissue. Diane Cartwright stood. Your Honor, I'd like to present evidence that tells a very different story. She approached the bench with the folder. The same folder Vincent had shown me in the hospital. Every document. Every forged signature. Every blocked call record. The judge took her time. Read through page after page. Her expression never changed, but I saw her jaw tighten. Ms. Cartwright, these are serious allegations. Yes, Your Honor. Identity theft. Fraud. Systematic isolation and emotional manipulation. We have bank records, phone logs, and testimony from multiple witnesses. Adriana's lawyer objected. These documents were obtained without my client's consent. They were obtained legally through discovery, Diane countered. And through criminal investigation. Detective Ramos can testify to their authenticity. The judge looked at Adriana. Ms. Holloway, are you currently facing criminal charges related to these allegations? Adriana's lawyer answered for her. The charges are pending, Your Honor, but my client maintains her innocence. I didn't ask you, the judge said flatly. Ms. Holloway? Adriana stood, voice small. Yes, Your Honor. But those charges are false. I would never. Sit down. Adriana sat. The judge turned to Diane. Continue. I'd like to call Miriam Holloway to the stand. My heart slammed against my ribs. I hadn't expected this. Diane had mentioned it as a possibility, but I thought. Ms. Holloway? The judge looked at me. I stood on shaking legs and walked to the witness stand. Raised my right hand. Swore to tell the truth. Diane approached, her expression kind but professional. Ms. Holloway, can you describe your relationship with your son before his marriage? I took a breath. We were close. He called me every Sunday. We had dinner together once a week. He was my only child. We had a good relationship. And after the marriage? It ended. Almost immediately. Can you elaborate? I told the court about the warning I'd given Adriana. About Vincent's gambling recovery. About trying to be honest, trying to help. And how did Ms. Adriana Holloway respond? She accused me of trying to sabotage the marriage. After that, Vincent stopped calling. Stopped answering. I tried for 3 years to reach him. Adriana's lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is hearsay. It's direct testimony about her own experience, Diane said. I'll connect it. The judge nodded. Continue. Diane asked me about the blocked calls. The hidden gifts. The forged loan documents. I answered each question, voice steady, even when my hands weren't. Adriana's lawyer cross-examined me. Ms. Holloway, isn't it true that you opposed this marriage from the start? No. You didn't warn Ms. Adriana about your son's gambling problem? I did. But that's not opposition. That's honesty. Some might call it interference. I call it love. I looked directly at him. I loved my son enough to tell the truth. She loved control enough to bury it. The courtroom went quiet. Adriana's lawyer tried again. You've been accused of being overbearing, controlling. By her, I interrupted. Only by her. And only after I became inconvenient. He shifted tactics. You pressed criminal charges against a pregnant woman. The baby isn't Vincent's, I said quietly. DNA proved that. So let's stop using her pregnancy as a shield. Adriana's face went white. Her lawyer stumbled. We're not here to discuss. You brought it up, the judge said. Ms. Cartwright, do you have evidence regarding paternity? Diane submitted the DNA results. The judge read them. Looked at Adriana. Said nothing. I'd like to call Adriana Holloway to the stand, Diane said. Adriana walked to the stand like she was heading to an execution. Swore her oath. Diane didn't waste time. Ms. Holloway, did you block Miriam Holloway's phone number on your husband's phone? It was for our privacy. Yes or no? Yes. Did you hide gifts she sent to your home? Adriana hesitated. Vincent was stressed. I thought. Yes or no? Yes. Did you forge Miriam Holloway's signature on loan documents? No. That's a lie. I never. Diane submitted the loan paperwork. The forged signature analysis. The notary's testimony. Adriana's story shifted. I may have, there was confusion about. Did you create fake text messages and emails to make it appear Miriam was harassing you? She was harassing me. Phone records show she called your number twice in 3 years. Both times you called her first. Adriana's mouth opened. Closed. Diane turned to the judge. Your Honor, I have one final piece of evidence. A video recording of Mother's Day, this year. Recorded by Ms. Adriana Holloway herself. Adriana's lawyer shot to his feet. Objection. That video was obtained without consent. It was provided voluntarily by Celeste Monroe, Ms. Adriana Holloway's mother. All eyes turned to Celeste in the back row. She sat very still, face pale, but she nodded. Adriana's head whipped around. Betrayal and rage twisted her features. Mom, she whispered. Loud enough to carry. Celeste looked away. The judge allowed the video. The courtroom watched in silence. Adriana whispering to guests. Priming them to laugh. Me, shaking, reading the card. The laughter. My exit. And Adriana's face, close to the camera, satisfied, perfect. This is going to get so many views. When the video ended, the silence was suffocating. The judge removed her glasses. Looked at Adriana. I've seen enough. She granted the divorce. No alimony. No division of assets. Adriana had contributed nothing financially and had, in fact, stolen from the family. She ordered Adriana to pay restitution for the fraudulent loan. Vincent was free. Adriana sat frozen, face blank. Her lawyer whispered something to her, but she didn't respond. The judge stood. Court adjourned. People filtered out slowly, voices low. Adriana walked toward the exit, her lawyer trailing behind, and for just a moment, she stopped. Turned. Locked eyes with me. No tears. No performance. Just cold, bottomless hatred. I held her gaze. Didn't look away. Didn't flinch. After a long moment, she turned and left. I exhaled, realizing I'd been holding my breath. Vincent approached, and I pulled him into a hug. It's over, he whispered. But we both knew it wasn't. Not really. Adriana would appeal. Fight the criminal charges. Spin a new story. But for today, the truth had won. Justice doesn't always feel like victory. Sometimes it just feels like the end of a war you never wanted to fight. 6 months after the divorce, Vincent texted me. Coffee tomorrow? Just us? My chest tightened. We'd seen each other since the hearing, brief visits, careful conversations at the hospital follow-ups, one awkward dinner with Owen mediating the silence. But this was different. Just us. No buffer. What time? We met at a cafe neither of us had been to before. Neutral ground. No memories attached. He was already there when I arrived, sitting by the window, hands wrapped around a mug. He looked better. The bruises had faded months ago, but something else had changed. He looked lighter. Less haunted. Hey, Mom. He stood, awkward, like he wasn't sure whether to hug me. I made the choice for him. Pulled him close. We sat. Ordered coffee. The silence between us wasn't comfortable yet, but it wasn't hostile either. How are you? I asked. Better. He traced the rim of his mug. Therapy helps. I'm learning a lot about everything. That's good. I'm learning about manipulation. How it works. How I ignored every red flag because I wanted so badly to believe I'd found someone who loved me. His voice cracked slightly. I'm learning about codependency. About boundaries. I reached across the table, squeezed his hand. I'm sorry, he said for the 100th time. Vincent. I know. You've told me to stop. But I need you to know. I know. I held his gaze. I know you're sorry. But you need to stop apologizing and start living. He nodded slowly. Swallowed hard. Do you forgive me? He asked quietly. I paused. Considered the question honestly. I'm trying, I said. Ask me again in a year. He flinched, but then nodded. That's fair. We drank our coffee in silence for a moment. Have you heard anything about Adriana? I asked. She moved. Out of state. Changed her name on social media, deleted most of her accounts. He shrugged. Oh, and heard she's in Nevada. Or Arizona. Somewhere. I waited for the anger. The satisfaction. The vindication. Instead, I felt nothing. Just distance. Do you think she'll ever understand what she did? Vincent asked. I thought about Adriana's face in the courtroom. The cold hatred. The absolute absence of remorse. No, I said. And that's not my burden anymore. Vincent exhaled. I used to think if I could just make her see, make her understand how much she hurt people, she'd change. But that's not how it works, is it? No. It's not. He looked out the window. The criminal trial is in 3 months. They offered her a plea deal. Her lawyer thinks she'll take it. How do you feel about that? Relieved. I don't want to testify. Don't want to see her again. He looked back at me. Is that wrong? No. It's self-preservation. We finished our coffee. Vincent paid, insisted, even when I protested. Come over, I said. To the house. I redecorated. He hesitated. I haven't been there in 3 years. I know. Come see it anyway. The house looked different. I'd repainted. Rearranged furniture. Hung new art. Reclaimed the space as mine. Vincent walked through slowly, taking it in. He stopped at the mantel. At a framed photograph I'd put up last month. Him and me. Years ago. He was maybe 16, grinning, arm around my shoulders. Both of us laughing at something I couldn't remember anymore. Before Adriana. Before the lies. Before everything broke. I remember this, he said softly. Owen took it. We'd just finished painting your bedroom. You got more paint on yourself than the walls. He smiled. Small, but real. We sat on the porch as the sun started to set. The air was cool. Quiet. Vincent's phone buzzed. He checked it. Owen's asking if I want to come to dinner. Him and Tasha and a few others. He looked at me. Do you want to come? Something warm unfurled in my chest. Yeah, I said. I do. We sat there a moment longer. No dramatic music. No grand declarations. Just a mother and son, learning to be family again. The healing wasn't finished. Maybe it never would be. We'd lost 3 years we couldn't get back. Trust had been shattered and was being rebuilt piece by fragile piece. But we were trying. And that was enough. People ask if I regret pressing charges. If I regret the confrontation. The answer is no. Because silence protects abusers, not victims. Because the truth, no matter how painful, is still freedom. And because my son deserved a mother who loved him enough to fight for him, even when he couldn't see the battle. I learned that love without boundaries is just permission to be hurt. That protecting someone from the truth doesn't save them, it traps them. And that sometimes the cruelest thing you can do to a liar is let them live with the consequences. Adriana taught me what betrayal looks like when it wears a smile. But Vincent taught me what forgiveness looks like when it's honest. It doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending the wounds don't exist. It means choosing to rebuild anyway. One coffee date at a time. One awkward conversation at a time. One quiet evening on the porch at a time. The road back is longer than the road away. But we're walking it. Together. If this story taught you anything, let it be this: defend your truth, even when no one believes you yet. Subscribe, because every week, we share stories of people who refuse to stay silent. And drop a comment, tell me about a time you had to choose between peace and truth. I read every single one.